104.5 The Team, your home for New York Jets football. We got Rich Cimini on the phone right now from ESPN New York, covers the Jets, and anybody who reads ESPN.com knows that. First things first, it seems more and more, Rich, like Ryan Fitzpatrick, it's a done deal. We just don't know what the deal is yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think a lot of people close to this situation have anticipated since really February that Ryan would be back, and I don't think it's a done deal yet. I think he made it clear. I actually caught up to him yesterday at a golf tournament in Westchester County, and he said he wants to be back with the Jets. The Jets say they want him back, so it's just a matter of finding a spot in the middle, like a middle ground in negotiations. And I don't know. It may take another couple of months, right up until training camp, but I do think he'll be back.
So, Rich, the other thing is now, if you accept the fact that he's going to be back, which I'm starting to lean that way, sounds like you're still leaving one toe out of the pool just in case. But 4 quarterbacks for the Jets, who's the odd man out?
Yeah, well, I mean, nowadays in the NFL, a lot of teams only go with 2. So the Jets would be really, really going unconventional if they go with 4. The last team to open a season with 4 quarterbacks on their 53-man roster was the 2013 Washington Redskins. They had 4. So it's unusual. It's very unusual. The Jets are leaving open that possibility. Of course, the other guys are Geno Smith, Bryce Petty, and Christian Hackenberg. We know Hackenberg will be on the team for sure. I know it's weird. I think there's a chance they'll stay with 4. I mean, it obviously depends on how things play out in training camp. I think the guy who's got to watch himself and show some improvement is Bryce Petty, but it would not shock me at all if they go with 4.
Now, Rich Cimini joins us right here on 104.5 The Team, ESPN Radio. Rich, I just read one of your great articles about don't call it rebuilding. For me, seeing 4 quarterbacks seems kind of like a rebuilding move.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, well, and I know some people are thinking, 4 is crazy. You're taking up roster spots. And as I noted in that article as well, I think Mike McCagnon is doing what he likes to call a competitive rebuild. I called it a half rebuilding phase. I mean, he's got all these older players like Revis and Marshall, Mangold, and Fitzpatrick if he comes back. And I think they have that half win now personality, and then the other half of them is trying to rebuild for the future. So I can see what he's trying to do. Like I said, he's trying to have his cake and eat it too, and so that's really hard to do. You're walking a fine line. I am not opposed to carrying 4. I know some people think it's nuts, but I mean, really, what are you you're sacrificing maybe your 10th offensive lineman. So I think the way it's set up, you have 2 guys who are for the future, which are Hackenberg and Bryce Petty, and you have 2 guys that you need now, which are Fitzpatrick and Geno. So as crazy as it sounds, I do see the reasoning behind it.
So, Rich, where do you think Ryan comes in at money-wise?
I think he'll get just speculating here, but, probably a 2-year contract. I mean, the final number might be $20 million or above. Really, the important number is the guaranteed money. We all know that. And so I think eventually he'll get around $10 million guaranteed. And I think it's going to be heavily incentive-based. If he were to get the Jets to the playoffs, start a certain number of games, then I think he could kick in more money. And that would be fair. I mean, if the guy produces, then he should be paid accordingly.
Yeah, I mean, I'd take a $7 million pay raise.
Yeah, I'm all right with that.
Yeah, I mean, he made $3.25 last year, so you're looking at it and you're saying, wow, he's going to more than double his salary. I mean, who would sign up for that? But, the average veteran starting quarterback in the league makes $17 million a year. So if you're Fitzpatrick and you're thinking, all right, I just had my best year and they're offering me, $8 million? So I can totally understand where he's coming from. Now, I'm not saying he deserves to be in the $17 million category. I think we know his limitations, and he's 33 years old. 2 years from now, he's probably not going to be the starting quarterback of the Jets. So, but on the other hand, I think the $8 million is way too low. So I do think they'll find some room and a landing spot where both sides would be happy.
Rich Cimini joining Levac and Wolf right here on 104.5 The Team, ESPN Radio. So, Rich, while they figure out the Ryan Fitzpatrick situation, Geno Smith running the offense. Let's say Fitz doesn't come back until mandatory. What is that, mid-June?
Right.
Does this hurt the team not having him in charge right now, or does it really matter at this point in the game?
Well, let me throw this to add some context. Last year at this time, Fitzpatrick wasn't doing anything because he was coming off the broken leg that he suffered in Houston the previous year, and he really did not do any team drills until that mandatory minicamp described. So it was in mid-June where he did some limited work. It was mostly Geno last spring, and I don't think it affected him on the field too much. He had his best year. So I know some people might be up in arms and saying, oh, he's missing all these opportunities, to build chemistry with Eric Decker and Brandon Marshall, yada, yada, yada. I think those people just need to take a step back and look at the big picture. Fitzpatrick knows this offense better than anyone in the building, not named Chan Gailey. So if he were to miss the entire offseason and show up in late July, is it the ideal scenario? No, but I don't really think it would impact him too much.
All right, so let's look at this from an optimistic point of view. Ryan resigns. Where do you see the Jets finishing up the year in W's and L's?
Yeah, I think they're going to take a step back. I mean, even if Fitzpatrick comes back, they have a tough schedule this year. I don't think their team is as good right now on paper as it was last year. They lost two of their better players, Snacks Harrison and Chris Ivory, and they're a little bit older in those positions. So, last year they went 10-6. Right now I don't think they're, better than 8 wins. We'll see what happens with Brady and the Patriots. I'm not going to believe he's suspended until the first game of the year and he's not out there.
Yep.
So, I think the Jets will take a step back.
Rich Cimini joined us, but Rich, Eric Decker said that the division's wide open and the Jets are probably going to win it.
Well, it's you want guys with confidence like that. And they should think that way. They had 10 wins last year, so you're not going to say, we just want to break 500. You won 10 games last year, and you came within a couple of bad passes of getting to the playoffs. So he should think that way, but it is rather a chutzpah because he's talking, and they really don't have a starting quarterback on the roster. So I have to think Eric is assuming that Fitzpatrick will be back by making those statements.
Rich Cimini right here on 104.5 The Team, ESPN Radio. Rich, the three main people who haven't signed yet, Ryan Fitzpatrick, rookie Darren Lee, and Mohamed Wilkerson. Of those three, which one concerns you most? And of those three, which one concerns you least?
I think only 4 or 5. There's maybe a handful, 4 or 5 of the top 20 players still haven't signed. So, you know how this works now, guys. Everything is slotted. Mm-hmm. There's really no negotiation. It's just a matter of time. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens at some point this week. The Fitzpatrick's the biggest concern because the Jets don't have any rights to him right now. He is unrestricted. Mo Wilkerson technically is not signed, but they do have some rights to him because he is their franchise player. I do not expect Mo to sign that franchise tender anytime soon. Why would he come to these voluntary workouts right now? It makes no sense. He skipped it last year when he was under contract. So, plus he's still rehabbing his broken legs, so I don't even think he'd be able to participate in any of these team drills. I don't think we're going to see Mo Wilkerson until late July when training camp starts, and it wouldn't shock me then if we still don't see him. He could hold out in training camp if he really wants to leverage his situation.
Rich, is the relationship between the Jets and Mo Wilkerson pretty much dead? Like, when this franchise tag is up, is he on his way?
Well, yeah, it's not a happy situation. I know Mo is very frustrated. The thing is, though, they could franchise him again next year. And I know that they've thought of that, and you would say, wow, that's going to be crazy money. Well, right now it's $15.7 million for this year. If they were to franchise him again next year, it would be $18.8 million, which is a lot of money for a non-franchise quarterback, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. It wouldn't be a very team-friendly. If they think things are acrimonious now, imagine if they do it again next year, then things would get really ugly. It's just not a very team-friendly move. or a player-friendly move, and it also doesn't really make much sense from a salary cap standpoint.
Rich Cimini with us right now on 104.5 The Team. Rich, Darrelle Revis, he's made more money than just about anybody in his NFL career, and now, right before probably the maybe last contract he's going to do, definitely the last one as a corner, maybe a few more as a safety, he gets rid of the agents. What's going on with that?
Yeah, it's shocking. Just really, I mean, these guys were together for since his rookie year. I mean, and you mentioned $101 million Darrelle has earned over his career, and I think the agents, I mean, they've been a thorn in the Jets' side for years. I mean, but these guys are hardline negotiators, and they've been able to maximize Darrelle's earning power over the years by doing some pretty, aggressive and gambles. I mean, a couple of holdouts. They orchestrated a trade just to get Darrelle paid. I don't have the inside story. I don't think this is financially driven. I think it's something that probably happened behind the scenes where Darrelle just decided enough was enough. And like I said, I was stunned. For the agents, I mean, I think they were blindsided by it. They're not going to lose any money. They still get paid because they negotiated his current contract. And like you said, it's probably his last big contract. But I think just from a personal standpoint, they were stung by it.
Rich, what are the storylines you're most excited about from OTAs?
Of course, the quarterbacks. I'm really interested in seeing Hackenberg, surrounded by veteran players. I mean, we saw, rookie mini camp a couple of weeks ago was really, kind of a joke. Just a bunch of rookies. But now he's going to be out there with the Eric Deckers and the Brandon Marshalls. And I don't think he'll be getting a lot of first-team reps. It'll be mostly Geno Smith. But, you want to see how he handles himself in that environment. So I think that for sure. It's a chance for Geno. We really haven't seen Geno in this role since the pre-punch before he got his jaw broken by his teammate last year. So I think Geno has something to prove. And, you always want to see the new guys. Like Matt Forte is really an interesting guy to me. A lot of people think, he's 30 years old, running back, he's old. So we'll see. I mean, I think he'll probably stand out in these camps because there's no tackling. It's non-contact, so it's mostly passing. And he's an outstanding receiver, so I think he's really jump out in these camps.
I want to ask you a quick question about Brady. He's fighting the 4-game suspension. Where do you think this ends up? I mean,
if it ever ends up.
Yeah, I mean, if this story ever goes away, ever.
Yeah, it's a stall. I mean, it's a Hail Mary. It's a legal Hail Mary. I think the odds of the second court agreeing to hear this again is about 1%. I think that's about the percentage he's looking at. So it's basically a Hail Mary throw for him. But, I guess he's hoping that it takes so long. The suspension is on hold right now. So I guess he's hoping they can drag it through the season and he doesn't get to miss any time. It's crazy. It's unbelievable that this has been going on for 400-something days. I think I saw someone tweet the other day. But it's more than just deflated footballs now. Obviously, the main question is whether the commissioner overstepped his bounds, and there's a lot of labor law, and he could take it to the Supreme Court, again, which is another legal Hail Mary, a very, very small percent of a chance that they would hear the case.
Rich Cimini with us right here on 104.5 The Team, Levac and Wolf. Follow him on Twitter at Rich Cimini. Read all his stuff, ESPN.com. The New York page has got it all laid out for you. Rich, thanks for your time, and looking forward to reading your stuff live from OTAs.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
You got it, Rich.